I was 16 years old, and I was living in Cleveland, Ohio. It was a bitter, bitter cold night, and I was leaving my after-school job. And as I was leaving, going through the parking lot, I noticed that cars were veering off to the right, and as I got closer, I could see why. There was a big black dog laying on the pavement. He must have been hit by a car. He was barely breathing. I got out, I picked him up. I didn't know where the heck I was going to go, but I picked him up, put him in the car, found the closest animal hospital, and they determined he was brain dead, and they put him out of his misery. I just knew that I couldn't do what the other drivers had done. I knew I had to do something. Well, I've been doing a lot of something ever since then. I have stopped traffic to rescue turtles and injured birds, putting them in my pet carrier that I always keep in the back of my car. I have trapped, neutered, spayed, and released feral cats. I have fostered animals. And I always have a leash in my car so I can wrangle loose dogs. Hey, there are people that do way, way more than what I do. But the fact of the matter is, at least I'm doing something, which brings me here today. 70 million. Ooh, sounds enticing. If we're talking about money, not so enticing. If we're talking about the 70 million homeless cats and dogs that are wandering the streets of this country each and every day, searching for food, seeking shelter from the summer heat and the winter chill. The American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals estimates that nearly 10%, 6.5 million of these animals end up in animal shelters every year. 3.2 million make it out alive. What happens to the rest? 10% are deemed unhealthy and euthanized. The remaining 3 million healthy, adoptable cats and dogs are killed simply because there are not enough homes. And adoption takes more dedication than killing, making it an easier choice for some shelters to make. Notice I said killed, not euthanized, because the definition of euthanasia is the act of permitting the death of a terminally ill or a hopelessly injured animal by a humane and painless method for reasons of mercy. Now, brace yourself. I'm going to be sharing some disturbing information. Instead of a sedative and an overdose of pentobarbital, depending on the shelter and as a way to save money, some of these animals are being killed with heart sticks. Sometimes fully conscious, the fatal shot, the syringe, is jabbed through the chest, through several layers of muscle directly into the heart, producing a heart attack. Or they're killed in gas chambers, put in with other animals, frantically trying to escape, eventually convulsing and ultimately losing consciousness. Horrific, beyond horrific. If you remember the late Bob Barker, who used to host The Price is Right, do you all remember how he used to end each and every one of his programs? What would he remind everyone to do? Together, all together. Please spay and neuter your pets. He said it for decades. If you didn't know why he said it before, I hope you do now. Current estimate is that 66% of U.S. households have a pet. There are good, responsible pet owners, and mixed in among them are the bad actors, people who pretend to be good, but they're really irresponsible. Some who equate getting a pet with going out and buying a new pair of shoes, doing it on a whim. Getting a pet as a gift for a special occasion, that gift, or I mean that responsibility, could last 10 to 20 years, much longer than a pair of shoes. Some of these folks don't spay or neuter their pets and let them wander through the neighborhoods. Then we can't forget the backyard breeders, some who don't really care where their puppies, kittens, guinea pigs, or whatever they're breeding end up. Money is their end game. And we can't forget the puppy mills, where often animals are kept in deplorable conditions. And when they can no longer produce litters, they're often just discarded. To the streets, to the shelter. And some shelter workers and volunteers who only want the best for animals have spoken up about concerns they have, like overcrowded kennels that can produce aggression, usually brought on by fear. After all, they're in a new environment, new smells, new sounds, kennel mates they've never met before. And now this new behavioral label can result in not only a lost opportunity at not being put up for adoption, but in many cases, they lose their lives. They're destroyed. Other concerns include the need for or improvement of creature comforts, like air conditioning, heat, or the need for more feedings. And the risk for speaking out? Sometimes retribution or retaliation, not only against the workers, but sometimes against the animals. And let's take a moment to just talk about rescues. After all, who oversees them? A 501c3 IRS public charity just defines their taxability, not their reputation. Great rescues abound, but rescuers also have their problems with bad actors. And sometimes rescuers turn out to be no more than hoarders or abusers themselves. Speaking of abuse, it used to be much more difficult to adopt animals from some animal shelters. You'd have to provide your address. If you were renting, your landlord or property management company was contacted. Vets were usually called to find out if you provided good medical care for your previous or current animals. There was always an adoption fee and usually a 24-hour waiting period. Well, a lot of that went by the wayside with the thought that having fewer delays would move more animals out of the shelters. The question is, where are they going and with whom do they end up? Without proper background checks, animal abusers are getting yet another opportunity to harm helpless creatures, permitting the cycle of violence and abuse to just continue. And what about those of you folks who, for whatever reason, don't have a pet, or maybe you're just not a fan of owning one? You probably figure this talk about irresponsible pet ownership and animal overpopulation doesn't impact you, right? Wrong. It actually affects all of us. Taxpayers pay millions of dollars each and every year to gather up animals, house them, kill them, and dispose of them. Pet ownership. It's a decision that should involve time, money, and patience. Just like when you're planning for a child. Hey, there's no guarantee your child's not going to have problems, and the same holds true for your pets. But when Johnny misbehaves, he doesn't get sent to the shelter. So the question is, when does this madness end? The Best Friends Animal Society is aiming for a no-kill nation by the year 2025. In the meantime, we need a return to responsible information gathering at adoption time. This will help ensure the safety of these voiceless and vulnerable creatures. This will also enable robust post-adoption follow-ups and help lay the foundation for a national animal abuse registry. Animal advocates and shelter workers, unite! And remember, it's always and only about the animals. And what about you? What can you do, besides, I hope, being a good, responsible pet owner? Enlist your legislators and demand laws that protect animals. It takes perseverance, but it can be done. Call them, write them, attend meetings, and let's make heart sticks and gas chambers illegal everywhere and make sure that all shelters provide good, quality care. Moving? Make sure you find a place that will take you and your pet, or have another plan in place, just like in the event you become ill or die. Do everything you can before you ever have to think about relinquishing your pet to a shelter. See an animal in need and you don't want to get involved? Have a list of resources. Rescues, wildlife rehabilitators. I keep my list in my glove compartment. You could put yours on your phone. So if you can't help, at least you can reach out to someone who might. I guess what this all gets down to is I'm asking you to do something. Volunteer, rescue, donate, foster, fundraise. And being the eternal optimist that I am, I look forward to the day when every dog and cat in a shelter isn't facing death, but instead is looking forward to another chance at life where they can bond with loving and responsible people. Thank you.